Hey guys, this is Captain Phoenix back in the action, and as the thumbnail and the title says, this is a deck profile on a Red Eyes Black Dragon starter deck. So what this means is it's a good majority Red Eyes, however there is additional cards put in to support the deck, which is also readily available cards. It's something I like to do for this channel all the time actually, try to use readily available cards so no one's spending a fortune on cards, which a lot of, like your proper players do. This is for fun. This is basically a fun deck, you could say. So as all deck profiles, we'll start with monsters, spells, traps, then the extra deck. And then I'll give my final thoughts on the deck, how effective it would be against certain decks, and also what its purpose would be, which I've stated. It's more for a fun game, really. So first we start off with Black Dragon's Chick. So what this does is, you can send this face-up card you control to the graveyard and special summon one Red Eyes Black Dragon from your hand. Now, I've added 2 of these in because I have 2 Red Eyes Black Dragons in this deck. So you can add 3 or you could have just 1. It depends on what kind of structure you want the deck to be. I add 2 just for additions. And then we've got 2 copies of Red Eyes Black Dragon. Now, this is a normal monster, and I always hate just so everyone knows, this is for speed duels, but because I don't have a copy of this, but I did have a speed duel copy, because I do play this deck for fun, but me and my mates know that as well, but we play this deck really for fun, and we've tested it. So, which you'll see, there's a difference, Red Eyes Black Dragon and then Red Eyes B Dragon. It should be changed back to that. It's because when they did B, it's honestly stupid. Next we have Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, which is honestly a card you must have, and luckily it's cheap, so because I have checked. You can special summon this card from your hand by banishing one face-up dragon-type monster you control. Once per turn, you can special summon one dragon-type monster from your hand or graveyard except Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. This could help because you could summon a Red Eyes then straight away, or another monster. Because next we have 3 copies of Red Eyes Retro Dragon, which is, I argue one of the good cards to get. Reason being, if a level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster or monsters you control is destroyed by your opponent's attack or card effects and sent to the graveyard, while this card is in your hand, you can special summon this card in defense position, and if you do, special summon as many of those destroyed monsters as possible in the same position they were when destroyed. You can tribute this card. You can normal summon one Red Eyes monster during your main phase this turn in addition to your normal summon. So let's say we had 3 of these and I special summoned that, and let's say I summoned 2 of the Red Eyes back. And then I can normal summon that and summon this in addition, so it would go pretty much like this, actually. Apologies. So next we have 2 copies of Red Eyes Wyvern. Once per turn during your end phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Red Eyes monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. You cannot normal summon or set during the turn you activate this effect. So luckily it's during your end phase though, so you won't really be summoning out anything else. Next we have 2 copies of Black Metal Dragon. So you can target one Red Eyes monster you control, equip this monster from your hand or field to that target. It gains 600 attack. So let's say I do use Red Eyes, it has 3000 attack because I'm equipping it to here, so it'd go like that. And also, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a Red Eyes card from your deck to your hand. So let's say you tribute it or it's destroyed, you could add another any Red Eyes card, a spell, trapper, or the monster itself. Next we have 1 copy of Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning. Now this is a Gemini, and I've stated Geminis in my previous deck profiles, I believe. You can, when you summon them first, they are classed as normal monsters with no effect, but then you can additional summon them. So basically you say, I summon it again to become an effect monster, and when you do, it gains this effect. Once per turn, you can destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls with defense lower than this card's attack, so 2500. But let's say you manage to increase its attack by the 600 that this can, because it says you can equip it to a Red Eyes monster. Let's double check. 600, yep. It becomes 3100, and then you can, which means that now you can destroy Red Eyes as well. Which many people will say. But even because Red Eyes is 2500 actually, so straight away you've got an advantage there if you were playing against certain Red Eyes decks. And then you've got another Gemini monster, Red Eyes Black Fleur Dragon. I like this card, I do. I actually like this, and I've said if I was to make more Red Eyes, get more Red Eyes cards, I'd get more of these. Reason being, if this is its effect, as you know, Gemini, normal summon, then additional summon to gain this effect. If damage calculation is performed involving this card at the end of the battle phase, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to this card's original attack. You can only use this effect of Red Eyes Fleur Dragon once per turn. So basically, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to this. Yeah, so basically, if it attacks and it's okay, at the end of the battle phase, you can inflict of that battle phase, you can actually inflict that 2400 damage to it, which is honestly beneficial. Or if you increased it by 3000, it's 3000, because I just checked, it's not original attack. Next, you have one copy of the Black Stone of Legend, which I got hologram. I love a hologram card. You contribute this card, special summon one level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster from your deck, except Red Eyes Black Chick. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target one level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster from in your graveyard, except Red Eyes Black Chick, shuffle it into the deck, and if you do, add this card to your hand. You can only use one Black Stone of Legend effect per turn, and only once that turn. I'm just double checking this. Yeah, so this is a huge beneficial card because you can get more of it, but I can't remember if it was this one, was super expensive. If you can get Joey Wheeler's deck online, I got it from eBay, it cost me 17 to 18 quid, I can't remember the exact number, I think it was £17.99 from eBay. It was worth it, I'm not going to lie. Or was that something else? Or it was one of the other ones, or you can get the collection one. And I managed to get that with other ones. I'd have a look. I could have a look if anyone asks how much it was. But double check eBay to be safe. Next, we have 2 copies of Decoy Dragon. You can get 3 of these if you wanted to replace some of the Red Eyes cards for these. I would, if I was to update this deck a little further to be more summon based on other dragons. Because if this card is targeted for an attack, target one level 7 or higher dragon type monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and if you do, change the attack target to it and perform the damage calculation. Meaning, let's say it's flipped, special summon Red Eyes immediately, and it targets that. So let's say they had a monster of 2000, it's not going to stand a chance. Or if it was a defense position monster that inflicts piercing damage, you can have that in attack mode to then reduce the damage. Next we have Komodo Dragon. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one dragon type monster from your hand. You cannot special summon monsters except dragon type monsters, nor conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this effect. You can only use this effect of Komodo Dragon once per turn. So again, if you manage to add a Red Eyes or want to get another certain dragon monster from your hand to the field, you can still summon out tons of dragons, you just can't attack. But in the end, it might not be intention just to summon out things to prep against your opponent. Next, we've got Divine Dragon Apocryph. I can never pronounce it all the time. Once per turn, you can discard one card, then target one dragon-type monster in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. Now, this is a debate. If, let's say you had Red Eyes Black Chick, and you had, let's say, these two. Let's say we had these two. We discard a card to add Red Eyes Black Dragon. And then and we send this card to the graveyard somehow from attributing, or we destroy them, and then so you could summon this immediately, which obviously has many of its benefits. So I like organising my cards. So now we're up to the last two monsters, which are definitely benefits I would use. Dark Fleur Dragon and Arc Brave Dragon. Try to get the hologram into there proper. Yeah. The reason I would use these is because they do have some really good effects that would really help. This one not so much, this one definitely. If you wanted to add a little more fleur, you could say, to the colour. A little more fleur to the style. So Dark Blaze Dragon first. If this card is special summoned from your graveyard, its attack and defense becomes double its original attack and defense. If this card destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack, which could be beneficial. Yeah, but it again depends on what the attack is. If it's 600, 2000, 2100, or 2350, you never know. Arc Brave Dragon's definitely a card to use because if this card is special summoned from your graveyard, you can banish as many face-up spell or trap cards your opponent controls as possible, and if you do, this card gains 200 attack and defense for each card banished once per turn. During the standby phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there that last turn, you can target one level 7 or 8 dragon-type monster in your graveyard, except Arc Brave Dragon, special summon it. So you could use it, let's say you had to get rid of it, summon Red Eyes or another monster. Now we're up to our spell cards, if you managed to see in the angle. First we have the attack spell, Inferno Fire Blast. Sorry, I just need a burp then. Target one Red Eyes Black Dragon in your monster zone. Inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original attack of that Red Eyes Black Dragon. Red Eyes Black Dragon cannot attack the turn you activate this effect, which is a massive... I believe, on a hunch, I think I didn't read this down properly. I'm just going to double check. I can't remember where it... I think it's one of them where it does pick up where its name becomes Red Eyes Black Dragon. Is this it? No, I thought one of them... sorry, my brain went then. Sorry. Next we've got one copy of Red Eyes Fusion. Fusion summon one fusion monster that lists a Red Eyes monster as material from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand, deck, or field as fusion materials. And if you do, its name becomes Red Eyes Black Dragon. You cannot normal or special summon other monsters the turn you activate this card. You can only activate one Red Eyes Fusion per turn. Beneficial if you manage to summon the fusion monster that I'm going to show you. Next we've got 3 copies of the cards of Redstone. Basically, what it does is send one level 7 Red Eyes monster from your hand to the graveyard, draw 2 cards. Then you can send one level 7 Red Eyes monster from your deck to the graveyard, and you can only activate 1 card of Redstone per turn. The reason it's good to have 3 of these, because it doesn't just mean Red Eyes Black Dragon, it could mean Red Eyes Darkness Dragon, Red Eyes Retro Wyvern, Archfiend, Black Fleur, that's actually one of the reasons it's beneficial. Well, it might not mean Blackstone because I think that's this one it wouldn't because it's not a level 7. Yeah, Dark Fleur you can do it. Archfiend you wouldn't because it's a level 6. I just forgot about those levels then. But I was just saying though, you could use this for a variety of cards. It's not just Red Eyes. You could use it on Dark Fleur as well. Next we have 1 copy of Stamp and Destruction. Literally, I'm not even going to draw. This is like one of the most common cards I see with dragon decks when people are building starter decks for dragons. What it does is, if you control a dragon-type monster, then target 1 spell or trap card on the field, destroy that target, and if you do, inflict 500 points of damage to the controller. So it could be you or your opponent. Next, the Wing Beat of Giant Dragon. which return one level 5 or higher dragon-type monster from you control to the hand. And if you do, destroy all spell and trap cards on the field, which includes your own. That could be, and which can be really beneficial if you're using certain, if it's Red Eyes or a certain combination of cards you don't want on the field anymore. Next we have Monster Reborn. As everyone knows, bring back special summon one monster from any player's graveyard, which it does say target though. Swords Revealing Light. Flip all your opponent's face down monsters, and they can, and for the and your opponent cannot attack for 3 turns. And these are like some common cards everyone should know what they do. Next, we are up to traps, and the first traps are the 3 copies of Return of the Red Eyes. If you control a Red Eyes monster, you can target one normal monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and if this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target a Red Eyes monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use each effect of Return of the Red Eyes once per turn. One of them's a hologram and the others are just normal. Next we have Red Eyes Spirit. Target one Red Eyes monster in your graveyard except Red Eyes Black Chick, special summon it. Red Eyes Burst. It's one of my favourites, and I just love the artwork on it. If a face-up Red Eyes monster or monsters you control is destroyed by battle or card effects, target one of those monsters. Both players take damage equal to its original attack. You can only activate one Red Eyes Burn per turn. But it is one of my favourites because if your opponent's life points are low enough, and you've managed to get actually get your life points high enough where it won't hurt you, you could end your opponent like that. Because I've actually done that with Ring of Destruction. Next we have Castle of Dragon Souls. So once per turn, you can banish one Dragon-type monster one Dragon-type monster from your graveyard, then target one monster you control. It gains 700 attack until the end phase. Even after this card leaves the field, or the monster becomes unaffected by card effects. When this face-up card on the field is sent to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished Dragon-type monsters, special summon that target. You can only control one Castle of Dragon Souls. You could get rid of this one if you wanted, but again, it's if you have another card available. Next we have Dragon's Rebirth. Target one Dragon-type monster you control, banish that target, and if you do, special summon one Dragon-type monster from your hand or graveyard. Which is, again, really good. If you've got like a weak monster you don't want to use, and then you've got that. So, Call of the Haunted. Activate this card by targeting a monster in your graveyard. Special summon that target in attack position. When this card leaves the field, destroy that target. When the target is destroyed, destroy this card. For those who might know, there was actually a glitch in which Yugioh game was it? Well, one of the games where this would actually stay on the field, which I think they fixed in the later series. But in one of the games, I think it was the story. It definitely was one of the story ones. I think it was. Can't remember what it's called. Legacy of the Duelists. Yeah, Legacy of the Duelists. I think there was a glitch in the. There was a thing where it actually would stay on the field after the monster was destroyed. Yeah, I think that's been fixed now. Because I haven't played that game in years. Next we have the last trap, Curse of Anubis. Change all effect monsters on the field to defense position until the end of this turn. The original defense of those monsters becomes 0. Also, their battle positions cannot be changed. This can work if your opponent has the field filled out and they can't summon anything else. And if you've got Red Eyes, because then they've all gone 0, but all your normal monsters are fine. Or Geminis if they've not been additionally summoned yet, because they're all normal at first. Now we're on to the last two. The extra deck monsters. First we have the Xyz monster, Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. It requires 2 level 7s, and it cannot be destroyed by card effects while it has Xyz material. While this card has Xyz material, each time your opponent activates a card or effect, inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent immediately after it resolves. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach an Xyz material from this card, then target one Red Eyes normal monster in your graveyard, special summon it. And it's got 28. So if you equipped it with a Black Metal Dragon, it's very beneficial. It would basically have 3400 attack. Next we have the Archfiend Black Skull Dragon, which, I mean, look at that. I'm not gonna lie, I love these designs so much. And look at them. I love Red Eyes Black Dragon is just arguably one of my favourite dragons other than Darkus Diabolos. This requires a level 6 normal Archfiend monster and a Red Eyes normal monster. So what you can and luckily it's a Red Eye, so you could use Black Flare Dragon so you could use Flare Dragon as well. So you can only special summon the Archfiend Black Skull Dragon or dragons once per. You can only special summon these once per turn. If this card battles your opponent's card and affect your opponent's monsters cards, and when this card once per turn, if this card battles, your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated until the end of the damage step. If damage calculation is performed involving this fusion summon monster card, at the end of the battle phase, you can target one Red Eyes normal monster in your graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its attack in the graveyard, then shuffle it into the deck. Which, again, 3200, if you damage, Red Eyes are right there. And let's say it's a Blue Eyes, so straight away, 200 if you manage to destroy it. Target Red Eyes Black Dragon, 2400, so a grand total of 2600 in one attack, which is very good. Now we're on the end of the end of this deck profile, and I'd say I'd give my far more performance on the deck overall. Overall, it's really a good deck to start with if you were to start with a Red Eyes deck. Because of its budget and availability, and because some of the cards are available really cheap if you were to build it from scratch, or if you were and you could easily get your hands on them. There's so many benefits to using this as a starter deck for dragons. There are other decks for dragons that are more effective, but if you are a noob, I would say, like really starting to learn Yu-Gi-Oh, I'd argue this is one of your good decks because it's not an instant win deck, it's not a slow deck, it's a good support deck because it builds on each other, because you're always bringing back your dragons, you're always bringing back Red Eyes, which is the focus of the deck. There are ways you could improve it, definitely. If you've got money and you've got cards, definitely improve this deck. But give your thoughts on what you thought of this deck overall. If I was to give it a rank, because sometimes I do this with my deck profiles, I like ranking it with my Duel Academy, I'd give it a decent rare yellow. So it's right in the middle, which is, some decks are like your Obelisk Blues, some are your Slifer Reds. But I would say this is a decent rare yellow because it's effective, it has a pattern, you can use it, and it's not going to be it's not just one of those crappy decks that you just pull together with random cards. It's got support, structure, and it works together because that's what a deck needs. So comment down below what you think of this deck, how you'd improve it, what deck profiles you'd like to see, because I'm also getting another deck built for Digimon. So give your thoughts on my Digimon deck profiles as well. And until then, this is Captain Phoenix, over and out.